We're going to go over some project guidelines and miscellaneous items that will help you when developing your project binder. First of all, you need to make sure that you know what type of binder you want to use. You can use a hardcover binder, you can use a 3-ring binder, so whatever it is that you think that you might want to use, something with page protectors in it. You need to make those decisions way ahead of time. You can also do spiral binding. With a spiral binding, you must let me know ahead of time, because you do not want to get your project spiral bound before it is corrected and before you make revisions, because then you have to spend more money to get it rebound. So if you're going to do spiral bound binding for your project, please let me know ahead of time. I will have you set it up in a folder, just as you would, just how you expect it to look. After you've got it bound, I will make the corrections. You're then to make the revisions, give it back to me. I'll make sure your revisions are correct, and then you may, once all your revisions are done, then you may get it spiral bound once you know it is correct. The next thing we're going to go over is APA. Please have your APA book. Know that it is objective writing. There's no use of personal names. You may use a person's title, clinical nurse specialist, nurse practitioner, whatever it is, director, but you cannot use their personal names. Make sure your level headings are correct, and make sure that you format your margins correctly. I shouldn't see different margins on different pages. You need to use a font size of 12 or above, and I wouldn't go that much above. You might can get away with 14, but use a font size of 12. You may use any font style as long as you use it throughout the paper. So if you want to use Bookman's old style throughout the paper, font size 12, that's fine. You may also use colored fonts as well. I think I have a couple projects that use colored fonts and how that looks. Your page numbers must be displayed correctly, and they must be sequential. That is usually a big mistake that students make, so pay close attention to your page numbers in the body of the paper as well as in your appendices. Your citations must be correct. Most students have trouble citing 3 to 5 authors and knowing when to use at all. Page limits and tabs. There's no page limit to your project. Some page limits are 6 pages, some are 16, some are 100. Just depends on what type of project you have. Every project is unique. Do not compare your project to other students, because you aren't doing what they are doing. Tabs are optional. Types of projects that lend themselves to tabs are medication projects and research projects, where the resources you've gathered and you made like a binder, and it's for efficiency and ease of use. The tabs help, especially medication projects, knowing the class and being able to get to the information fairly quickly. Those types of projects really need tabs. Your tabs must be typed or printed. They cannot be handwritten, and they must look professional. Written sections submitting the paper, the project paper. Written sections should be concise yet complete. I shouldn't see 2 sentences as a section. I shouldn't see 3 pages as a section unless it's your literature review and it's something that you really, that you had to do for your leader. So again, they should be concise yet complete. Reread your project. You're responsible for spelling, grammar, and readability. Look over your project after you've done it. Give it to somebody else. Let them look at it. Make sure it looks nice and inviting, and does it make sense? You are to submit only 1 copy to the instructor. I would then make corrections, and your revisions must be mandatory. Once you have made your revisions, you are to give me your binder back, and in the binder you must have the corrected pages that I have previously corrected, and that sheet, the page 20 sheet where I've given you your project grade. Those all must be in the front of your binder after you've made your revisions. I will then go over your revisions, make sure they are correct, and then I will give your project back to you. Be mindful of security. Projects have been taken in the past. One project was 100 pages, and we never found that project again. And another project was not so big, but again, it's your blood, sweat, and tears, and you do not want someone taking your project and taking your information. So your project is to be turned in at the front desk. You will be signing that you turned your project in, and you'll be signing that you received your project. So there will be a sign-in sheet. Um, Presentation day. You must have one visual presentation of your project. Most times the students just show their binder. So you must keep the binder until presentation day or have some other way of displaying your project if you give your leader the project binder ahead of time. Sometimes the leaders need their project binder before presentation day, and that's okay. After I've corrected it, you may give it to your leader. However, if you create a poster, if you've done a brochure, you've done a pamphlet, then you may show that, or you can use your executive summary, but you must have one visual representation of your project. Your nurse leader must receive the project. This is your responsibility. You may mail it, you may take it to them, whatever it is, but I do not like and do not want them to just calling back to the college saying that the student never gave me the information that I needed. Other considerations, you should only use white or light colored paper with or without a border. That is up to you. Dark color paper, you cannot see the print. It does not lend itself well to the project binder, so you have to use white or just very light colored paper. The border must not be so big that it hinders your ability to print. In other words, the border should not obscure your printed words. I shouldn't see printed words underneath the border. If it is, you need to either get a new paper that has a different type of border or use no border at all. No graphics in the body of the paper. Be very, very careful that after your introduction, I shouldn't see all these graphics in the paper. You may use a nice graphic on your title page. You may even use a nice graphic outside of your binder that has your name and information on what the title of your project is. That's all fine. But in the body of your paper, no graphics. You may use tables in the paper or appendices if desired. If you've done something in a budget section and you want to highlight your information on a table, you can do that. Do not buy any crafts or paste objects on your paper because this is not a craft project. I don't want any glitter. I don't want you gluing and cutting out things in the library. That's not what this is. This is a professional paper. There will be projects in the library for you to review for inspiration and ideas of how to organize your binder and appendices. You must adhere to the guidelines outlined above. Please do not try to copy information out of the binders that you see. If their AP is wrong in that binder, then your AP is going to be wrong. Please ask questions. You cannot turn in a rough draft. However, you can turn your completed project in early before the final deadline. So on week 8, if you are done with your project and you've completed and you want to turn it in for me to grade it, I will be happy to do that. Again, please ask questions if you need to know something. Thanks.